In 2014, after the murder of Trayvon Martin, the Black Lives Matter movement began to grow exponentially across the country as a response to multiple cases of unarmed black people being killed by the hands of the police. Cases such as Eric Garner, Mike Brown, Tamir Rice. It almost seemed as if every time you turned on the TV or picked up your phone, you were sure to be horrified or angered at a new case of an unarmed black person being killed. For some of these cases of unarmed shootings, the person survived and were able to walk away to someday hopefully tell their stories to help prevent them from happening ever again. And that person just happened to reach out to the Back of the Bus podcast to tell his story, the story of Phil Holland.
Okay, so my name is Phil Holland. I'm 27 now. This incident happened when I was 20, but before that, I was born in Africa, in Ivory Coast, in a city called Abidjan. And I got here to America when I was 3. That's why I'm kind of Americanized at this point. But got here when I was 3. I used to live in Philadelphia, which is, where the incident happened. I had a pretty normal childhood. I actually liked school, had a lot of friends, et cetera, et cetera. And this happened 3 years after I graduated high school, which was April 22nd, 2014. At the time, I was working 2 jobs and I was taking 2 classes. And on that particular day, I went into work at the airport from 5 to 12. I would have an hour to get to class, and that was 1 to 4, I believe, or 1 to 3, something like that. And then the delivery job that I was working at, that would start at 4 o'clock. And it would be till about 11:30. And so this is about 10:30. It's the last delivery of the day. And so an order came in, and how it would work at the pizza shop was we would rotate between, drivers, because there was 3 of us that day, and it was a busy day. So it wasn't actually my turn to go out and take the delivery, but the person whose turn it was told me to go ahead and take it because he, didn't care or whatever. And so I took it, didn't mind. Didn't have to, but I just, it's extra money or whatever. So I took it, and it was about a 12-minute drive, and it was, I parked my car because when I was driving, Philadelphia, not just Philadelphia, but, it's not the safest place, certain areas of it. And like I said, that's everywhere. But I had seen a lot of stories about people, getting shot, robbed, delivery drivers, or anybody really, like I said, anywhere. So I was always somebody that was pretty vigilant no matter where he was, even before this happened. So I never double parked my car, to the point where it was noticeable. Never had the lights flashing or anything like that. So I parked my car normally, and I delivered it was a cheeseburger to an older woman, gave it to her. She tipped me, easy peasy. So then the whole thing started when I was walking off the lady's porch. I'm at the top of the steps, about to walk down to my car, and then I see to my left, the top of the street, I see this car kind of like swerving, like Fast and Furious kind of stuff. Like you see the smoke, and the car is just going in circles. I'm just looking like, okay, let me get out of here before I somehow become part of that. Literally thought that in my head. I remember thinking that, but I had no idea that I was really about to become a part of it. But I'm walking to my car, seeing this car swerving, and I'm just like, all right, let me get out of here. So I was just walking normally, and I got in my car. You guys know how when you get in the car, the light comes on before you turn the car on. So I was in the car, light came on. And I don't know if it was intuition. It probably was just me being the person I was or am. But being at night with the light on like that, I just got kind of nervous because I'm just like, all right, I'm an open target right now. So I turned the car on to turn the lights off. And as soon as the lights went off, I see one figure, like in all black, coming, like I'm parked normally, and the car is to the right, or the person is to the right in the sidewalk. And I see he's coming towards me, and he shined a flashlight right in my face through the windshield. And so I block it with my right hand. And when I block his light, that helps me kind of make out the second person in the street, and not in the street, like close to my car, like in the street, but close to me. And that's how I can make out him pulling out a gun. I can see the shape of the gun. And so when I saw that, fight or flight, I kind of just, I can't fight a gun. And everything I'm about to say might seem like it happened within 5 minutes, but it was really a matter of like 10 seconds, maybe less. So I see the gun, instantly think I'm about to get robbed because I'm a delivery driver. I have about $400 in my pocket because it's the end of the night. So I have a good amount of money in my pocket. So I see that, think I'm about to get robbed. And so I basically put the car in reverse, put it in drive, didn't hit the car in front or behind me. I don't know how, because I wasn't thinking about that. But, got out of there. And as soon as I move forward after moving back to get out the spot, that's when I start seeing, the muzzle flash from the guns from either side, just pop, pop, pop. And so obviously I duck to try not to get hit. And the first thing I feel is a bullet passing through my thigh. And it passed clean through. And I remember it feeling going clean through because it hit my left leg, but didn't penetrate because it had slowed down, obviously. So I winced, I kind of clenched up from the bullet, and then I passed out right after. Didn't know why yet, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But I passed out right after the bullet hit me, right after I felt it. About probably 5 seconds later, because, I passed out, and the car's moving forward because I got the spot. I crashed into this fence, and what wakes me up is like the sound of like glass breaking all around me, right? And so I jolt up, and my face is like really wet, and I have no idea why, but I can't say anything. I just hear glass breaking, and I'm just like, like what the hell's going on? And the next thing I know, somebody's opening my car door, and he starts saying, "Police, freeze, police." And me, not knowing what the hell just happened, I'm just like, I'm kind of in shock a little bit, but I'm very aware, but in shock. I'm just like, please, somebody just shot me. I just got shot. I just kept saying that. I just got shot. I just got shot. Because that's all I know. I just got shot. And the cop's response to me saying that is, "No shit, Sherlock." And I had no time to think about why he would say that, but he took me out the car, put me on the ground, and, while I'm bleeding, like in 2 different spots, he puts his knee on my back, not for 8 minutes like George Floyd, but, it reminds me of that. It was for like 8 seconds while he handcuffed me. So he's got me on the ground like I'm a threat, handcuffing me like I'm not bleeding out, but he put me on the ground, not the seat, but the ground of the car, the floor of the car. And the cops are the ones that took me to the hospital. And that was how the incident itself played out. So I woke up in the ER, and what woke me up was like, in the ER, when they're performing surgery, emergency surgery, they don't have time to like unbutton your pants and, take it down. Like they were just cutting, like tuck the clothes, just excuse my language, just take the clothes off or whatever. And so what woke me up was like the sound or the feeling of like, a gust of wind hitting my junk or whatever. So that woke me up. I remember like it was yesterday, it just woke me up. And I tried to shoot up, but I couldn't. So doctor, I see everybody walking by. I can't see too much, but I can kind of open my eyes a little bit. And I see a bunch of people walking back and forth, and I see the lights, a lot of flashing lights on the ceiling. And the doctor next to me sees me wake up, and he starts asking me, "Hey, are you okay?" I'm not, obviously, but "Hey, are you okay? What's your name?" Here I go again. I just got shot. Somebody just shot. I just got shot. He was like, "Relax, you'll be okay." And he starts asking me, "Do you know your name? What year it is? The president?" I was able to answer all those questions. I said, "Obama, 2014, et cetera, et cetera." And he said, "Okay, so you just got shot, but you're gonna be okay. We're gonna help you out." And I was very aware for somebody that had just been shot the way I was. And again, I'll tell you how in a minute. But when he asked me if I had a number that he could call for me, I thought of my mom. Now, real quick, my mom was in New Jersey at the time. She had moved a year before that. And she wanted me to go with her, but I felt like it was time for me. I was 19. So I felt like it was time for me to, just hang back, try to figure it out, maybe get some roommates and, just live my own. So she left me the house that she had rented out, still in her name, but I was paying the bills, paying the rent, got roommates and all that. My girlfriend moved in a couple months after that. And so my mom was in New Jersey. My girlfriend at the time, she was at the casino, and I guess one of her friends saw it on the news and they recognized me or, knew that I was her boyfriend. So they came up to her and said, "Your boyfriend's on the news. Something just happened to him." So my girlfriend was the one that called my mom. And how it went, well, it's not funny, but funny now, but she answered, it was like probably midnight by this point, and she answered the phone, and she was like, "Hello? Miss Odette, Phil just got shot." My mom was like, I guess I don't know why, she was sleepy. You know how you are when you're sleepy, so she just hung up the phone. Like, "Man, get out of here." So my girlfriend called her back.
Didn't even believe it.
Yeah, you know how it is, like, what? So my girlfriend called her back,
Sleep.
and at this time, she's crying. She's like, and this is my mom telling me this, she told me this story like probably 10 times now. She's like, the second time she was crying, screaming, "Miss Odette, please, Phil just got shot. Please come down here." That's when my mom wakes up. She's like, "What?" And so my mom, this is the most heartbreaking part of the whole story to me, not even what happened to me, but my mom after she got the news, called the hospital and gave them my name, tried to figure out what was going on. All they could tell her was that I had been shot in the leg and in the face. And my femoral artery was severed from the shot in the leg. That by itself was like a critical thing, because the femoral artery is the main vein in the leg, and if that gets severed, you got like T minus whatever seconds to bleed out before you bleed out. Not only that, but I got shot in the face. They can't say anything else other than that. So my mom had to drive from Jersey to Philly, which is about probably an hour and a half, something like that, from where she was, not knowing whether, first of all, if I'm gonna be alive or not, if I'm gonna die. But if I do live, I got a hole in my face, or what does it look like that I got shot in the face? She has no idea what she's gonna see, or whatever. So that, thinking about how she had to drive that long, not knowing, or thinking about that, or not knowing what to expect, even before I had a daughter, that broke my heart hearing that. But anyway, so I'm in the ER. The doctor, it's not until the doctor asked me, do you have a family member we can call? I thought of my mom. And that's when I started panicking. Like, my mind started racing. I was like, am I about to die? Am I going to see my mom again? My sister's like, I start like just panicking and crying. And, when you're bleeding out, like, you can't really spend energy crying or screaming or whatever, because, your energy is running out. And so I passed out before I gave him the number, because I was so busy panicking and crying and screaming. Not screaming, but like, help me. Like, I just got shot. I told him, you got to call my mom. He's like, okay, what's her number? I didn't give it to him because I was just too busy, just whatever. So I passed out from all the energy I was spending. And I wasn't even awake for like probably 5 minutes when that happened. So next thing I know, I wake up in the ICU, and my mom's standing over me, because I was out for about a day and a half. And so I wake up and my mom's standing over me. She's crying, and she has tears, and I can tell she's been crying. Rewind. Actually, when I woke up, my face was wrapped up, so I didn't see right away. When I woke up, I could hear my mom. My mom was like, "Philip, are you okay?" I had a tube down my throat, and my face was like very swollen. I don't know if you guys can see, but bullet entered right here, next to my eye, bounced around my face, broke the bone. I didn't know bullets could work like that, but it broke my bone around that holds up the right eye. So that's when my eyes kind of sunken back a little bit. And it lodged itself in my jaw right here. They took it out 2 years ago. You can't see it now, but before, I could like kind of clench my jaw, and you could see it like poke out, like the whole bullet was just sitting there, didn't break or anything. So, so my face was swollen from that. So I could open my eyes a little bit, and that's how I saw my mom, but I could barely, like, I had to really make an effort to like open my one good eye. So I could see my mom standing over me. I could make her out, and she asked me, "Are you okay?" And I started asking her. I couldn't talk at first because I had a tube down my throat. So I started motioning for like, so I could write. And I kind of, for the first day, I was kind of like just writing blind. So I asked her on the little dry erase board that the nurses gave me. I asked her, like, what happened? And so she had gotten caught up to what happened when she got to the hospital. Policia was there waiting for her, not waiting for her, but he was there, and he, was able to explain to her that basically, these two cops were from another district, by the way. So they weren't even in the area they were supposed to be in. I don't know how that happened, but they were in the area responding to shots. They got a call about shots being fired in the area. And the suspect they were looking for was obviously a black man. He had a hoodie on, and I had a hoodie on. I had a button down under it, but I put the hoodie on before I left because it was cold. But the man was 6'5". I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm sure I'm 5'5", 5'6" on my back. I'm lying. I'm 5'5". So I'm nowhere near even 6 feet. So, call it racial profiling, but they saw a black man with a hoodie on, and they said that must be him. And they approached me the way they did. And so they said that they, saw me, and they thought it was me. Before I go on, my thing is, besides the fact that I'm short, even if I was 6'5" and I matched the person exactly, there's a lot of black people wearing hoodies in Philadelphia, everywhere. You're wearing a hoodie right now. Like, people wear hoodies. So I could have been somebody walking out their house, going to the store to get something, or coming from a friend's house, or I could have been anybody. I was anybody, not the person you're looking for. So, racial profiling, honest mistakes. I believe what I believe, but, you guys take from that what you will. But my mom heard that. Now, the thing is, at the time, this happened in April 2014. Eric Garner, as far as, how it's mainstream now, people getting shot every month or so, this was April 2014, and Eric Garner was in June or July, and Mike Brown was in August, and then it started happening every 2-3 months. So when mine happened, There was Trayvon Martin, but that wasn't really police related. That was, whatever his name was.
Mhm.
And there had been Sean Bell 2006. There had been some, obviously. I wasn't the beginning of it, but it wasn't really mainstream yet like it is now. We're like in the news all the time. So my mom and I didn't see it as police brutality. We just saw it as two dumbass cops shot me for no reason and, messed my life up. We didn't see it for what it really was until a couple years later. So when she saw that and when she was told that, she was just like, I don't even want to hear that right now. I just want to see my son. So she walked in. You guys can see my Instagram, what she saw when she walked in. Face is wrapped up. All this. You guys can go look on my Instagram, and whoever's listening can go look. But so we didn't really go public with it because we didn't see it that way. And when I did start seeing it that way, I still didn't want to go public because I was just I'm a very private person anyway before this happened. But when this happened, on top of being private, I was scared, honestly. Like I didn't want to be the center of attention. I didn't want to be a target. I was just like, I'm not trying to have anything else happen to me, which I'll tell you in a minute why. I'm just like, I regret that. But, I was in the hospital for about 2 weeks. After about like 2 days, I got the bandages taken off, got the tube taken out, had the catheter out, my thing taken out. That was painful. And I recovered. They told me I might not walk again. I might not be able to see. And, by the grace of God, all that was just talk. Like I was walking, and the nurses there were shout out to Penn Hospital. They were very nice. And the thing about me, I was an asshole in the hospital, not on purpose, but just from being irritated that I was missing out on school and money and just my life was interrupted. I was so irked, not at people, but it's just, I couldn't control my emotions. I was just, I was very unpleasant. Not that bad, but I mean, nobody deserved that, especially not the people that were helping me, but they understood. So I want to shout them out. I wish I had their names. I plan on going back at some point to go visit them. I didn't want to go out at night. Not that I didn't, but very few and far in between I was out at night because of how that happened. And specifically being in a parked car at night, which is the situation I was shot in, what I was doing when I was shot, that was a no-go for me. I couldn't be in a parked car at night at all because obviously it reminded me of what happened. So for about 3-4 years, even now it's kind of uncomfortable, but I've gotten past that for the most part. But the first couple of years was like, no, I can't do it. I'd rather just literally stand outside. That way I can see everything going on and I can but another thing that happened was when the way the bullet hit me, it hit the front of my skull. And so my skull, if you were to see an x-ray, there's like a big crack, like kind of like Harry Potter type stuff. The bullet fragments from the bullet are in my brain from that impact. And so a year after May 2015, I had my first seizure. And because of the fragments, I can't see them coming, or I couldn't see them coming. I couldn't control them. I was at my mom's house in New Jersey because I went to go visit her. And we were sitting, my mom was doing my sister here. They were watching Housewives or one of those shows. And I'm just sitting there on my phone. And next thing I know, I'm in an ambulance. Literally, it's like you fall asleep and you wake up in the ambulance. And I was just like, what's going on? The nurse or the what do you call the ambulance? The ambulance guy told me that, you just had a seizure. And I'm like, what? Like, what do you mean? And they explained to me and so I found out in the hospital it was because of the fragments in my brain. And so I started getting on medicine for it. I had 4 more after that. One was before election, literally the day before Trump got elected. One was before that. One was the day after the Super Bowl. I think it was 2016. I forget who was playing that day, that one. But and the last one I had, luckily, was 2018, April 2018. And that one was one of the crazier ones because the second one, I was driving with my girlfriend and luckily pulled off the highway. And she looked at me and I was just like kind of shaking. She described it to me and, she called the ambulance. That was the second time. Third time was the day before election day, that was with my daughter's mother, future daughter's mother, girlfriend at the time. And this is a different person. And the last one that I had was April 2018. Like I said, my daughter was born 4 months before that, or 3 months before that. And so daughter's mother and the baby were sitting there. And I was at the top of the steps getting ready to go downstairs. And basically felt, it's like I said, it's like falling asleep. I was talking to them, and the next thing you know, I'm in the ambulance. By that point, I already knew what had happened. And I fell down the steps, so I had a little cut on my cheek. But by God's grace, I could have broken my neck or something like that. So, that was luckily I didn't. But like I said, that was 3 years ago. It'll be 3 years in April. Every time I had a seizure, they would up my dosage of medicine. So I think now I'm on the right dosage. So hopefully that's in the past. Because the first year or so, I was afraid to hold my daughter because I did not want to have a seizure with her in my hands, obviously. And not that I didn't carry her, but because I noticed a lot of my seizures were happening around 6 or 7 o'clock, and between 6 and 8, like usually during the evening. And so during the morning, I'd hold her more often, but when it came nighttime, I let my daughter's mother handle her, or she'd be on the floor crawling or whatever, because I was just too afraid. I didn't want to take the risk. Um, and I'm glad I, didn't do that, because who knows, if I didn't care about that, maybe I would have been holding her that night. But, I don't like to think about that too much because, I believe things happen for a reason the way they should. So, but like I said, that was 3 years ago. Besides what I just told you, the seizures and being afraid to go out at night and all that, I feel like I'm blessed to have recovered the way I did and not be like, people think I'm afraid of cops or have a grudge towards them, like I'm angry. No, because it's not all cops that shot me. Obviously, not all cops are good, not all cops are bad. But I had interaction before and after with cops, was never afraid, was never, even after, didn't think anything. Like there was one time where I was walking down the street to the barbershop, 2 cops were walking by and they looked at me funny. I didn't even, I don't know why, I would think that I'd be angry or that I'd be hesitant, but that's one thing for some reason I never had any trouble with. What I did have trouble with, besides the seizures and all that, was, like I said, Eric Garner happened 2 months later. He got choked out. Not that it didn't hit me, but what really hit me was when Mike Brown happened. I don't know if you guys remember that, but,
yeah,
out in the middle of the street, body laying there for hours in front of people in broad daylight. And obviously not the same thing, because not just the broad daylight, but he died, obviously. I didn't. And so besides those differences, just that case struck a chord with me, because I'm just like, I literally just got shot like that a couple months ago. And then John Crawford, Tamir Rice November, Alton Sterling, Philando Castile, and I'm just like, I'm looking at this every, whatever it was, 2-3 months. And that's when I realized that's the first indication, the first thing I saw, or the second thing I saw that told me that mine wasn't really an accident, so to speak. I can't say it was purposeful because I don't know what was their intent. So I'm not going to, that's me being honest. I don't know why they did it, but
yeah, what the intention was behind it.
The first thing, I forgot to tell you guys this, the first thing was when I was in the hospital, my friends came to see me, a bunch of people messaged me. So I asked my friends, like, how'd y'all hear about this? And a lot of them said they saw it on the news or on the website. Meek Mill had posted me on his page on Instagram once. I didn't have an Instagram. I deleted my Instagram after that happened. I just made my new one back in July, but I deleted it so I couldn't see it. But so when I looked it up, I looked up my name just to see what was being said, or just to see. And the article I saw, the cops said that I had my hoodie up, which I did not. They said that they announced themselves and told me to freeze, which they did not. And they said that I tried to run them over, which I did not. 3 lies. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, why are they lying? Again, this is me not knowing what it is. So I'm reading like, why are they lying? They're literally, like, if I died, I would have known they got away with it because, like, y'all lying. And there were 2 witnesses there that saw the whole thing unfold, and I never got to meet them, unfortunately, because I tried to, but we couldn't get in contact with them. My lawyer couldn't find them. But they said that they saw the whole thing. The cops did not have badges on. They didn't announce themselves. And ironically, they had hoodies on. Believe it or not, they had hoodies on and they had shorts on, khaki shorts, but I didn't see the khaki shorts. I just saw all black. No indication they were cops. And they said that after, they came back, or after the backup came, they took them to the hospital. When backup came, that's when they had their badges out. And that's when they were acting like, whatever. And they tried to give a statement to the cops and they would shoot away. That was the first thing I saw. First indication that this was like some weird stuff. Second indication was seeing it over and over again in different ways. And the third thing was during my deposition, you guys probably know what a deposition is. For those who don't know, that's when you go to downtown and you go to the legal office and they have the recording thing and they record you stating your side of the entire incident. When I went to go do it, I walked in, quick story, I walk in the lobby and I see these 3 guys standing there. Walked past them, didn't know where they were, didn't think about it. My lawyer walked in about 5 minutes after, and she rushed to me. She was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, why?" And she was like, "Because I just wanted to make sure because they're here that you're okay." And I was like, "Who's here?" She was like, the cops. And she didn't have to say much. She said the cops, and that's all I had to know to look over and realize it was two and their lawyer, but the two of them, and she pointed them out, the guys that shot me. I forget their face. I forget one of their faces now, but the other one, I remember his face because they know who I was when I walked in, obviously. So they go into the elevator, and as I walk to the elevator, I'm staring at them because I'm just like combination of anger, just anger really. So I'm just staring at them, giving them the like a dead stare. And one of them looks back at me, and like kind of like a movie almost, like the elevator door is closing and he's staring at me, I'm staring at him. Like I'm not looking away. Like I'm just like staring at him, and he's staring back at me like he has a problem with me. And the elevator doors closed, and we just like basically held the stare until the doors closed. So obviously that just made me even more mad. I'm like, they got some nerve to really just look at me like that. But I asked my lawyer, why are they even here? Like, what's going on? I thought it was my deposition. She told me that they want to be present for it. And I'm like, why? And she said, because her opinion, and I believe that too, that they were trying to intimidate me. And when she said that, I'm just like, I'm not no tough guy. I don't fight. I'm not like that. But when I heard that, I'm like, intimidate who? Like, and she wanted to reschedule. I'm like, no, we're gonna do it today. I'm gonna sit there and tell the story, and I'm gonna stare at them while I do it. How about that? That's really what I was on. That type of time I was on. But my lawyer was like, no, you know what? That's not a good idea. We don't want to give them any reason to like say you're this and that or whatever. You don't want to give them any ammo because they don't have anything. I didn't have drugs in my car, no alcohol or weed in my system, nothing but mail in my car and a pizza bag, and no record, no felony, nothing. They had nothing on me. So she was like, let's just keep it that way. Not that me staring at them is a big thing, but she just wanted it to be, So she rescheduled it because she wanted to make sure that they were allowed to be there because she didn't think so. But the second time I went, there was no legal precedent for them not to be there because they were allowed to legally. So they came the second time. I didn't stare at them like I wanted to, but I told them the story. I told the story, but they were in the corner at the end of the table, and I told the story. And so I tell all that story to say, when they a year later, my lawyer came to me or called me, and she said they want to settle, they don't want to go to court. I told her that okay, I don't mind settling because I really don't want to drag this out even more because it's been already 3 years, but I want to sit them down in a room and talk to them face to face myself, to combination of closure and also figure out why the hell did you do that? Like, what's your problem? Especially after having seen it in the news a couple of times, I'm just like, all right, I want to talk to them. My lawyer told me that that's not a good idea because, during your deposition, I was looking at them, not the whole time, but I was looking at them and they were in the corner doodling and passing each other notes and laughing or giggling with each other while I'm sitting there telling the story how they shot me in the face and leg and almost died. I regret not pushing for that meeting even more because that made me so angry, but I'm just like, you know what? Fuck it. I don't even care anymore. I don't want to say regret, but I wish I had pushed it. And also, I regret, obviously, even after the case ended and I moved to Atlanta, I kept seeing it over and over as recently as, we saw George Floyd, Jacob Blake last year, and you guys mentioned Andre Hill. I kept seeing it. And so it wasn't until George Floyd happened, and it was a combination of that happening and also pandemic had everybody in the house. So I was really in the house quarantining, me and my daughter, and her mom has it too. I don't have her all the time, but I was sitting there and I had the time to think about everything, and I just felt like it was time for me because I've been hearing for years, you got to get out with this, you got to tell people what happened, you got to share the story because you can inspire, teach, whatever. And like I said, I don't want it to keep to myself. I didn't want to be a target. I was scared that they would come and finish the job. Like I was thinking some crazy stuff. But people kept telling me that. And it wasn't until George Floyd happened and I saw the protests, and it was just like about the 50th time I've seen it. I'm just like, you know what? I'm tired of being quiet. I'm tired of sitting here with the story and not telling anybody. So that's when I made a second Instagram back in July, and with the intent of sharing the story and not being more social because I have friends, but just as far as that story, being more public with it and, just sharing the story because I feel like, I don't know for a fact, obviously, but I feel like if I had not necessarily gone public with it and made it a whole national story, but if I had at least went public with it to an extent, who knows what changes I could have made. Or if I would have taken it to court and, like I said, made it a big story, maybe one or two of those people that died wouldn't have been shot, whether it's because they saw me get shot first or the cops, police departments around the world would have switched up a little bit. I doubt that, but I'm just saying, like, you don't know what could have happened if I would have, since I was kind of the first one as far as recently, as far as, these past 7 years of people getting shot over and over and killed, mine happened before all those recently. So I'm just like, if I would have went public with this, maybe I would have changed to one or two or maybe a good number of those. So I regret that. That's something I actually do regret, not, going public with it. The purpose, I get asked this a lot by different podcast hosts or people that message me after they hear it. And they ask me, what's the point of sharing your story? Not what's the point, but like, why do you share it? And I share it because, like I said, one, it's to inspire anybody that looks like me, but not only that, but also because a lot of people think that to be shot by cops, you got to be doing something. You got to have a record, or you got to be in the streets or whatever. And none of those things. And that still happened to me. So, to teach people, it can happen to you, not it can happen to you or it will, but like, you got to be vigilant. But also to teach people that, people of, I don't want to say white people only, but, and Mexican, there's a lot of races, not just white people. So anybody that thinks that, oh, he must have been doing something, like they say George Floyd had something fentanyl in the system, like that's relevant to him getting choked out or, knee on his
At all.
Even Walter Wallace in Philadelphia back in October, he had a machete in his hand and his mom was behind him. Oh, he shouldn't have been swinging the machete, but okay. Like, they still didn't have to shoot him right there in the chest. They could have shot him in the leg. They had time to do that, and they still chose to kill him. Or Flint, like, I could really go on and on about that, but it's like every time there's, oh, what was he doing? Or he must have been doing this, or listen to the cops and nothing will happen to you. You could sit and listen to them, but I wasn't told to freeze or stop or anything. I got approached by two guys in hoodies. So what am I supposed to think?
Thanks for watching another Back of the Bus Squad episode. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe.
Want to check out another episode related to this, go ahead and click that video to the left.
And if you want to catch up on some of our other episodes, make sure you click the playlist below.